Physics class with Mr. Berger. I'm 14 years old. I'm in the 8th grade. Mr. Berger, round spectacles, greasy hair, a cliche physics teacher. And he told us about a very special model. It's from physics class. I think IT guys have the same. It's this system. Hi, Alba. Hi, guys. It's this system. An input triggered by a stimulus enters in the black box. The black box is a box. We don't know what happens in the black box. Something is going on in the black box. You don't know what's going on in the black box, and something completely different. Another output comes out of the black box. Input, output. Now, with the teachings of Mr. Aristotle here, you know that there are those who are experts. No, there are 3 modes of persuasion, of moving people to action. The art of speaking is the art of persuasion. It is the logic, logos, it makes sense. It is pathos, emotional appeal, emotional arguments, metaphor, storytelling, touching your emotions. And then there's ethos. Now, in the input-output model of Mr. Berger, my physics teacher in the 8th grade who I had, logos, the logic, facts, data, figures, statistics, expert testimony, examples, demonstration, surveys is input. Pathos, the metaphor, touching your 5 senses. This project stinks. It's better than saying this project doesn't go right. Or telling a story and then nothing. Touching your emotion. Pathos is an input. Now, this session today is all about ethos, and ethos is an output. Credibility is ethos. We have to put in stuff into our speaking, non-verbally and verbally, to gain more ethos on stage. I welcome you today to a super session on ethos, your credibility on stage. Hi, Alba. Hi, everybody out there. Hey, you changed your first name, Juan. Now it's Jay-Z, man. Jay-Z Duran sounds like a rapper from the Bronx. That's amazing. Now, I already said it's an output. Yeah, everything's running smooth today. Thank you very much. Now, ask me any questions on credibility. But first, where does ethos come from? Ethos, original meaning, means habits, customs, morals. Cicero said, O tempora, o mores. O tempora, o mores. Mores, morals, moral habits. This is what ethos is all about. Think about where it comes from. 2,300 years ago? Come on. They stabbed each other in the back the first moment they had a chance. You had to trust that person. Is the person frank? Is that person speaking truthfully to me? Or is it a fucking liar, a cheat? And this trust, this ethos, this credibility, we want to build from the first moment we step on stage or before. Do you have any first question on how to increase credibility as a speaker on stage? Why should they believe you, Connor? Hello, today everything works smoothly. Yahoo! Any question on ethos? Otherwise, I start right away. I'm like these mind maps. Connor, you like my mind maps. I have stuff here for ethos. Today, what I want you to do after this talk and in the future, because ethos means trust. It's the credibility you have. So it means you fight doubt. And what I want you to have after this, I want you to have tools to rage against any doubt in your audience. Rage against, not the machine. No. Rage against any doubt you have in your audience. Okay, here we go. First question, Alba. What is the most decisive element to have great credibility on stage? Well, I want you to rage against doubt. I have different elements that all play together to build more trust. On top of everything will always be, for me, will always be authenticity. And on stage, you have to be, in my opinion, an authentic performer. You have to be a little bit bigger than life. It's not the authenticity you have in a one-on-one meeting now in Zoom with a colleague in Paris. And I'm talking about you want to move these 500 people to action. You want to persuade them. You want to inspire them to change their attitude. Authenticity for me is, of course, on top. But authenticity, those who were not there at the beginning, is also an output. Input-output system, black box. Stimulus goes into black box, some different output comes out. You also have to create authenticity. And in the first session, number 2 here in the playlist on this channel, we talk about authenticity, vulnerability, sincerity. Vulnerability, I'm not perfect, I'm not proud of. I screwed up yesterday with tech, which I will never say, because then my ethos goes down, my authority. But in general, sincerity and vulnerability will create more authenticity. For me, that is on top of everything. But credibility, ethos is a puzzle. It's a puzzle, and you need different elements. Hey, Nadine, how's it going? Any other question? Today I have some interactivity with you because I saw that, Connor, I saw the other day you did the one-word thing. I will borrow that from you, the one-word thing. Hey, Job, if you have no one to introduce you, is it better to put your name and job title in a slide or to introduce yourself? Eka, hi Eka, thank you for the comment. Job, okay, here we go. How do people normally create ethos credibility as a speaker at a conference speech or in any given speech when they present slides with PowerPoint jihad? First slide, boring slide. The title slide. Oh, the title slide. The title with another descriptive subtitle, and then they put Barcelona or Paris because people do not know that they are in Barcelona or Paris. The date, 22nd of March, they don't know the date. Page number 1, it's boring as hell. Title slide out. What's the second slide normally, guys? What's the second normal boring slide in any PowerPoint presentation? Like Job, when you are speaking somewhere, what's the second slide? It's the agenda. Have you ever seen any audience in this world being thrown at the back of the room at the wall from excitement when the index comes? Today I want to talk about... Dude, man, that is the last person falling down and falling asleep with the agenda. Yeah, exactly. Second slide agenda. And sometimes between the boring title slide and the boring index, there's a second slide. And this answers your question, Job. What is the second slide sometimes? Before I want to talk about the special effects of the current coronavirus crisis on the stock markets in Bulgaria, let me share some insights about me. Click. That job is the about me slide. And that is, I always look around. I look around at my audience when I sit in the audience. That is the moment when any audience in the world starts to mentally vomit. Don't put an about me slide. They checked your LinkedIn profile. They know you. If you have a moderator, great. Always send the introduction to the moderator. Moderators, female, male, who do not receive your introduction are very good at exploring anything about you on Google, and then they will write their own style introduction, which of course has a big disadvantage. Sometimes they say stuff that could be a surprise, a twist in your presentation, and they kill it. Always make sure you send introduction. If you have no moderator, I have another idea for you. I call these any question ask. Don't always listen. I want to teach. I'm a teacher, man. I give you this acronym. It took me 45 years until I learned that PSI is not an acronym. It's an abbreviation. No. Only words that can be spelled like a word like NATO or scuba. Scuba diving is an acronym. Check it out on the web. Mine is EBA. My recommendation job for gaining credibility, ethos on stage. You talk about your name and job title, who cares about that? They care about your reputation, their experience. So my recommendation for all of you is tell ethos building anecdotes. Ethos building anecdotes. When I talk about perseverance, when I talk about how hard it is to start your business, when I talk about that when everything seems lost, you have to keep fighting. Many of us are in this situation right now, including me. All my business is gone. I always share the EBA, the EBA, the ethos building anecdote of €1.27. 10.5 years ago, I'm in Berlin next to my friend Sam Sonite. He cannot walk anymore. The drain rushes in, yellow with graffiti, loud. There is a man standing next to me with more piercings in his face than the Bible has pages. It smells like empty beer bottles. Stand next to my friend Sam Sonite. The ticket machine, the yellow ticket machine, 10.5 years ago in Berlin, with a beautiful German name, the subway station, Rosenthaler Platz, tells me €2.10. Hi, Monis. And I grab into my pocket €1.27. This was the moment when I had to change my perspective and I had to start fighting. If you want to persevere in this situation, start fighting now. Don't wait until you're standing next to Sam in a subway station in Berlin. Start fighting now. You see, this is an EBA, €1.27, I throw in to gain ethos, credibility on the reputation side, experience side, for talking about founding a business, persevering, endurance. I can support any message with that EBA, EBA. €1.27, Connor, it's never gonna change. It's gonna be with me. That was the first slide. I didn't have a title slide job the other day. 5 weeks ago, I'm with Essity. This, oh my God, this company, they produce hygienic paper, kitchen paper, bath paper, toilet paper. They're going through the roof. And 120 executives in Bonn, and my first slide, black slide with huge white letters, 1.27. I didn't even put the euro sign because that would have killed already a little bit the suspense. Always play with your audience, don't give it away. Alba, is it better to have formal or informal authority relative to our audience? What do you mean by, can you distinguish between formal and informal authority? I really would like to know, because I don't know really what you mean by formal versus informal authority. You see, reputation, for me, I share experiences with ethos building anecdotes. This is my first. I want to rage against any doubt that the audience might have. The first one is the R. Connor, let's have a shout out for Sophia. Oh, for those who don't know, Connor Neal, amazing. The leader, what do you say now, Connor? The leader tuber? The leader tuber? He has a beautiful daughter, 4 years, Sophia. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Sophia. What could I do? When's the last time, Sophia, you had a chupa chups? Now, that's the first thing. Always share your experience, but whirl it into stories. You see that about me slide that people put with a CV style. I went to ES, a business school. I went to LBS. I went to Fontainebleau. Who cares? They don't care about your titles, about your doctor, about your PhD. They care about your experience. Your experience they cannot find maybe on Google. So share that. Reputation is the first one. Formal, I'm an expert in formal. I have read study. I think you can never stop with building your ethos. I mean, yesterday I posted a new, did you see it, Alba, on LinkedIn, a new infographic, yin yang, find your balance. But of course you want to be known as an expert, but I whirl everything into stories, into anecdotes, because people love to hear your stories, experience, anecdotes, but they are off when you boast with your titles, and I'm an expert in. But you need both, of course. I read a lot about this with you guys. I share it. Lots of people care about titles, but you know what, Job? Juan, but they have it in LinkedIn. They have it in LinkedIn. Send them your LinkedIn link before. And when the last 2-3 times keynote speaker at events, come on, those people have your link to your website, to your LinkedIn. They know that already. And normally at bigger events, you have a moderator. The moderator will say that. I always brief my moderator, no title, no business administration, MBA stuff, my passion, something personal. People connect so much more, Juan, with your personality, with your passions, than with your titles. Send them a LinkedIn, man. 3 forms of credibility: experience, research, data, interviews with others. Well, of course, the data, I put everything in my logos. And logos and ethos, logic, it makes sense, and credibility, ethos, I believe the speaker, I trust the speaker, of course, are many times interconnected. Once I tweeted, when logos stumbles, your ethos falls. Do you know these cases when somebody says on slide number 3, as you can see here, the market went down in Russia by 6%? Slide number 18, like I mentioned before, Russia is down by 7%. If you do that in a German audience, they will rip you apart. When your logo stumbles, your ethos falls. But I want to go less into data today, Connor, less into research. I will have a special session on logos. I put this in my logos pillar because I have to think in black and white here. Today, more about completely credibility, trust. In your speaking career, Sabi, hi Sabi to Amsterdam, what was the best introduction you ever received? Was it yours? I don't remember. This is something I don't remember. I cannot tell you. Next time I will pay attention to that, Sabi. Yes, you see, Connor loves your question. Nadine, as an index agenda, many times gets asked by the organizer or an audience feedback, how do you transmit best what your speech will be about beyond a boring agenda? As a speaker, I will never give an agenda. I will never give an agenda, ever. When I sit in a meeting room with a handout, with a PowerPoint, there will be a session on PowerPoint. I have a handout, I put an agenda, I can take notes. When I speak, I do a signpost. I use signposts. I always want to play with their curiosity. If they want the whole presentation beforehand, a problem that cannot be solved is already solved. Many IT conferences, people tell me, I know it. You have to send the stuff before. But as soon as I stand, I will still stick to my second version. And I will say, in 4 steps today, I will improve your productivity by 2%. Be careful, that is a bold promise. When you don't keep it, you're dead. But 4 steps, that would be a signpost. We talked about it in this session on structure, to indicate the structure without giving away everything. I don't do it. And you know what the golden rule is of public speaking, of rhetoric? There ain't no rule. There ain't no rule. It must be your style. And how many times I hear, yeah, but many people want that. So fuck them. Sorry for the F word. You cannot say the F word on stage. You have to find your own style. 20% will think you take drugs. That's the bell curve. That's the normal distribution. You cannot please them anyway, all of them. Macarena is a story. You can share that in when you invite me to your call. We can do the Macarena story. You have to find your own style. Let me go to the A. I want to rate you against any doubt in your audience and increase your level of ethos and trust. This is my goal today. A stands for authority. Now, the other day, Connor and I, we had a discussion, and I said it before Connor too. Authority comes from author. And of course, I gain a lot of authority because of my publications, especially when they're translated into Russian, Ruski. Amazing. And of course, when you are the co-creator, when I am the co-creator of a rhetoric board game, one client hired me in Madrid. MTP is the name of the client, particularly because we had created this board game. He thought, oh man, if he creates this board game, that must be passion. Of course, authority comes from author. Authority, of course, is the position you have. But I want to address here something today differently. Why did he say sorry for saying that thing? Sophia, I will explain to you this one in another, or let your dad explain you about the F word. Sabi, one more question, just a second, because I'm now with the A, guys. This is very important, authority. I want to talk about something I learned about in my almost 11 years of professional trainings in 15 countries. And this is the psychological authority you have every time you get up on your feet and they're sitting there. I learned, independent from your race, your age, your color, your body weight, hair or no hair, Connor, even with no hair, you have all the authority in the room as the moment you stand up. And people are so good in losing it. Yeah, I know I don't have a lot of time, so I will cut my presentation. Cut your stupid presentation. Oh, the projector doesn't work. I don't know what to do. Take the flip chart. It's better anyway. They all the time excuse them and they say sorry. All the authority goes down all the time. And then we will have another session of body language. But just let me do this one thing on body language. Then there's this one thing that you can improve your authority tremendously, your psychological authority. I'm not talking about authority by title or writing books or creating games. No, psychological, because you're standing. It's the gestures you have, the base gestures. And what is the base gesture of 99%? Do a Google image search, a Google image search. Do it. And look for TED speakers. I'm not talking TEDx, I'm talking TED speakers. And look at the speakers. 90%, dude, this is not the way I order a beer in the bar. Can I have a beer, please? This is you protecting your body, your belly, because that was, if you had a cut there in the evolution of humans, you were dead. So this was, but this is crazy. I call it the T-Rex. Sophia, do you know the T-Rex? Sophia, do you know the T-Rex? They have these arms here. This is not normal. And you protect it all the time. If you open up your body, and our friend Lario, he's not here today. Lario from Portugal, a great young speaker, 30 years old, super. Lario Coaching is his website, Lario Coaching. And he always says, when you do not do anything with your hands, like drinking coffee, heavy bags, my friends. Heavy bags. Heavy bags. Amazing tip. It's so easy. This is some authority killer I learned that is so easy to fix, but as soon as people stand up in front of others, it's crazy. If you don't do anything with the gestures, we will have another body language session. Heavy bags. And this is psychological authority. That is direct eye contact. I just see Connor, this thing. Yeah. This is direct eye contact. This is open body language. This is vocal variety. This is voice. This is psychological authority for me. This is moving on stage with purpose. Wow, you can do so many things to gain that authority, independent from your content, reputation, or writing books. I mean, it helps. Okay, Sabi, authority comes from author. That inspired me to write a book as well. Exactly. Sabi had a question. What does ethos become bragging? When does ethos become bragging? What is the thin line? I said it before already. For instance, I coach name dropping. Americans hate name dropping, for instance. Anyone but Donald Trump hates name dropping. But then there is this thing you can do. Anecdotes always work. I was in Bilbao once. Bilbao, Getxo, everything green, a suburb outside of the Basque country, Bilbao, beautiful place. The golf club of Bilbao, Getxo with TX. And there he is, Mr. Professor Telchik. Professor Telchik is the founder of the Munich conference, the security conference, where all the people come together and talk about peace. It's not a rabbit, Sophia. Connor, explain to Sophia what that means. Yeah, peace. And then this guy Telchik was our keynote speaker in this golf club in Getxo. And he said this first sentence: no hello, no good afternoon, no my name is. The only person who can say my name is Eminem. He started like this. Last Thursday night, I had dinner with Putin. Pause. And 85 spoons in the room. Glug. Now, you can call that bragging. I call it storytelling. Last Tuesday night, I had dinner with Putin. And he told me, I really like your chancellor, Angela Merkel. And you know why I like her? Telchik said. You know why I like her? Because, he said it in broken English, because she is physics. And physics think brightly. We couldn't eat our soup anymore. This is anecdote-driven storytelling. I did the same. I coached for 5 years. Jochen Schweizer. Germans here in the call? Do you know Jochen Schweizer? Well, Jochen Schweizer is big on TV. He had a TV show. He has a brand for events. These events you can buy in a coupon. And so he has brand awareness of maybe, I think, 90% in Germany. And I coached him. But I will never say, I'm the coach of Jochen Schweizer. And he wrote the foreword in my book, Der einfache Weg zum begeisternden Vortrag. No, I will never say that. I say, once I was taking a taxi in Munich. It was a sunny day. And we took it down to the middle ring, always filled with traffic jam, like in Barcelona, Ronda, rush hour. And it was sunny. And we're in this Rosenheimer street. And the taxi driver is a Greek guy. And when there's a Greek guy, man, I have to show off with Aristotle and all my knowledge about logos, ethos, pathos. And then I said logos, ethos und pathos in German. And I was on the way to Jochen Schweizer, who I coach. And the Greek taxi driver said, this is not pathos, this is pathos. Okay. So what I'm telling you is, I coach Jochen Schweizer, but I whirl it into an anecdote with a Greek taxi driver. It's never bragging, it's storytelling. Authority we cut. Okay, what are ways? What do you think are more ways? We have reputation, experience, your whole experience, your titles, your reputation, your authority, also your psychological one with all your charisma on stage and your titles. We have it all covered. But are there other ways? Are there other ways to create more credibility with your audience? What do you think? Tell me another way. Emotion, vulnerability is connected with pathos. Vulnerability, imperfection, emotional transparency, when you share what you're not proud of and the things you envy and how lonely you felt when everyone was gone. This will always connect with your credibility as well. Because there is one thing that, exactly, empathy has pathos in its word, but I learned that empathy, and this is the E of rage against any doubt in your audience and build ethos. That's the E. I call it empathy. And empathy you can build with vulnerability, openness. That's what we said before, Sabi, just a second, Sabi. So this is always connected, empathy with emotional connection. Empathy, because when you make yourself naked with clothes, they feel the connection, and a connection builds trust, and trust is ethos. Agreed. There's another way to build empathy. I call it to build bridges of empathy with your audience. How could you build bridges of empathy with your audience? What could I say? What could I do to create bridges of empathy with my audience? Have you felt scared lately? Then we're in the same boat. Yep, that happens. Questions, interaction. We will have full session on interaction inclusion another day, but interaction with an audience builds bridges of empathy. When I make references to Connor, to Sophia, who's in the call right now, that builds, of course, a lot of empathy. Do we have something else? Sabi, you said work and research you've done in this topic. I said it before, when logo stumbles, when you screw up your logos, your ethos gets hurt, your credibility. It's the other way around too. when your logos is spot on. This morning, 9 a.m., we were 973 team members in our company. If your logos is spot on, 100%, your ethos goes up. So Connor here in the call, this is an area we both can explore much more. And all the other speakers in the call. The connection between logos and ethos. There's so much, and I've never analyzed it. There's so much to work on. Juan, which approach would you recommend regarding ethos for presentation where audience are people with more authority than you about a topic they know really well? They can know anything in the world. They will not know more than Wikipedia. What an audience wants to hear is your personal view, your personal insights on this subject. And if you have less, you don't say, oh, I have less than all of you here, less competence. This will be a difficult thing for me to do. This is saying sorry. Sorry drags down your ethos. Your ethos smells like snow in the sun. In this case, you can use self-deprecating humor. When I'm 623 years old, I will know half of the stuff that you know about this topic. That was combined with hyperbole, exaggeration, but really be sure. Self-deprecating humor, always positive. Making yourself worse than you are, your ethos goes down, always on the constructive feedback side. Plus, I call it. Be careful. No, but they don't know your personal insights. And you would be astonished. How much come on, Connor here and all the other parents in the room. Are there parents in the room? How much do you learn from your children? Connor, how much do you learn from Sophia, 4 years old? Does Sophia know more about life than Connor and Eka, his mom? No, but it's her point of view, which inspires, engages us, moves us. That's it. And then the other one, as an employee in a corporate presented to a group of managers, for example. You know what? There was a Brazilian guy, Roche now doing the test in the US, Roche, the pharmaceutical giant from Switzerland. And we had a 3-day coaching session with the top executives of the world, of the developing countries, developing in Roche, because Brazil was not like, you see, that's a tangent. Stop doing it, Flo. He was the CEO of Brazil, of Roche Brazil. And he told me during lunch, you know what I'm doing lately? What I've been doing lately? I do reversed coaching. Now, what is reversed coaching? Oh, sometimes I take for 2 weeks a young employee, an employee who just joined the company, and the person, not my assistant, just for 2 weeks, walks with me to every meeting, goes everywhere, is with me all the time. And any idea that person has to improve my job, to make my leadership better, shout it out. You see, this reverse code, the guy did it on purpose, Juan. How can you not want to hear a younger person's opinions about specific stuff? Claudia, hi, how's it going? Moving around the room. Munas, there will be a session on staging. Actually, you know, now that you say moving around the room, tomorrow 6 p.m. we do a complete session on staging, how to use your stage more powerfully. I have to finish this. We already have reached 33 and 19. But in order to completely rage against any doubt you have there in the audience and improve your ethos, your credibility as a speaker, the G we haven't touched. We have reputation, all your experiences, share them as ethos building anecdotes, as EBAs. Don't show the CV. We had authority. Both authority comes from author, your reputation, your title, the accomplishments. 15 years called a professor and ES gives you a lot of reputation, authority, but also authority on stage. Always keep it in place because you have all the authority the moment you stand up. It's a psychological authority you have. We have to protect it. This is very, very a big driver on credibility. We had empathy, sharing your inner self, pathos, vulnerability, connecting, and interaction, asking questions. For instance, have you felt scared lately? But the last one, the question leads me right to the G. Think about your friends. Think about your colleagues. Think about your family members. Do you have something in common with them? Common ground. Common ground is an amazing credibility booster and trust booster. Look for common ground. You can do that before a presentation. Analyze who's sitting there. What are their passion in life? You know that one has horses, you have horses. Shout out, shoot that. Because when you have something in common, builds more trust. It's been a longer session today, 35 minutes today. Thank you for, today was a bit more monologue because this is, it's deep in my heart. I want to share also my stuff. Is that an excuse? My ethos goes down. Tomorrow, great that you've been here in this session. Tomorrow, it's all about staging, how to use your stage more powerfully. But I think with ethos today, with everything we've discussed, with your question, I think this man is very proud of all of us. Without him, we cannot talk about rhetoric, public speaking at all. Hasta la vista. See you tomorrow when it's all about staging.